The road looked familiar, but that day it felt different. Adil had driven this way many times before, always telling himself he knew every turn, every bump, every shortcut. It was late afternoon, the sky turning soft orange, and his phone kept buzzing with messages from work. He was already late. His manager had warned him that one more delay could cost him his job. As he sat in traffic, watching the long line of cars barely moving, frustration tightened his chest. That was when he remembered the shortcut. It was a narrow road that cut through a quiet area outside the city. People talked about it like a secret. "It saves at least 20 minutes, his friend once said. Adil had used it before, but only during the day and never when he was this tired. Still, the idea of escaping the traffic felt like relief. Without thinking too much, he turned the steering wheel and left the main road behind. At first, the shortcut seemed like a good decision. The noise of horns faded away. The road was empty, lined with old trees and broken streetlights. The car moved smoothly, and Adil felt a small smile form on his face. He told himself he was smart for choosing this way. He even sent a quick voice note to his manager, saying he would arrive soon. As the road stretched on, it began to narrow. The smooth surface turned rough, and the streetlights became fewer. Shadows grew longer, and the sunlight faded faster than Adil expected. He slowed down a little, but his mind was still racing. He thought about the bills waiting at home, his mother's medicine, and the promise he made to support his younger sister's education. Being late was not an option. The shortcut took a sharp turn that Adil did not remember. He frowned and leaned forward, trying to see clearly. There were no signs, no markings, just a bend disappearing into darkness. He pressed the brakes lightly and turned. The tires made a soft sound against loose gravel. His heart skipped for a moment, but the car stayed on the road. After the turn, the road dipped slightly. Adil noticed water shining faintly ahead. It looked like a small puddle, nothing serious. He had seen worse during the rainy season. Without slowing down much, he drove straight toward it. The moment the tires touched the water, everything changed. The car slid, not fast, but enough to steal control from his hands. Adil gripped the steering wheel tightly, his breath catching in his throat. He tried to correct the direction, but the road felt slippery and unfamiliar. The trees on both sides seemed to rush closer. "Stay calm," he whispered to himself, but his heart was pounding too loudly to listen. The car skidded again, this time more sharply. Adil slammed the brakes, then remembered too late that sudden braking could make it worse. The headlights flashed over uneven ground, and he realized the road was narrower than he thought. On one side, there was a shallow ditch, hidden by tall grass. The car tilted suddenly. For a brief second, time seemed to slow down. Adil felt the weight shift, felt his body lean forward, felt fear wrap around him like a cold blanket. The car slid off the road and came to a rough stop in the ditch. There was a loud thud, followed by silence. Adil sat frozen, his hands still locked on the steering wheel. His ears rang softly. The engine was off. The headlights were still on, pointing at the tall grass ahead. He took a shaky breath and realized he was alive. His chest hurt, not from injury, but from fear. He slowly unbuckled his seatbelt, his fingers trembling. The car door was stuck for a moment, then opened with effort. Cool evening air rushed in. Adil stepped out carefully, his legs weak. The car was tilted, but not completely overturned. The front bumper was damaged, and one tire was deep in mud. Adil looked around. There were no houses nearby, no people, no sound except insects and the distant hum of the city he had tried to avoid. He pulled out his phone. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. The signal was weak. He tried calling his manager, but the call failed. He tried again, this time calling his friend Hamza. After a few seconds, the call connected. "Adil?" Is everything okay? Hamza asked. I had an accident, Adil said, his voice shaking. I took that shortcut. My car is stuck. There was a pause on the line. Are you hurt? No. I don't think so, Adil replied, checking himself again. Just scared. I'll come, Hamza said firmly. Send me your location. Adil shared what he could and ended the call. As he waited, he leaned against the car and finally allowed himself to feel everything he had been pushing away. His hands shook. His eyes burned. He thought about how easily this could have been worse. If the ditch were deeper, if another car had been coming, if he had been going faster. He imagined his mother waiting at home, worrying because he was late. He imagined the phone call she could have received instead. The thought made his throat tight. Minutes felt like hours as darkness settled fully. Adil turned off the headlights to save the battery. He stood quietly, listening to the night sounds, feeling small and foolish. The shortcut no longer felt smart. It felt dangerous and careless. When Hamza finally arrived, his car lights appeared like hope breaking through the dark. He parked safely on the side and ran toward Adil. Thank God you're okay, Hamza said, pulling him into a tight hug. I shouldn't have taken this road, Adil said softly. Hamza looked at the ditch and shook his head. People talk about shortcuts, but they forget the risks. This road isn't safe, especially at night. With some effort and help from a local tow service Hamza called, they managed to pull the car out. It was damaged, but it could still move slowly. Adil followed Hamza back to the main road, driving carefully, his earlier rush completely gone. When Adil finally reached home, it was late. His mother was sitting in the living room, worry written on her face. The moment she saw him, she stood up and held his face in her hands. You scared me, she said, her voice trembling. I'm sorry, Adil replied, tears finally falling. I made a bad choice. That night, sleep did not come easily. Every time Adil closed his eyes, he saw the car sliding, felt the loss of control, but with the fear came clarity. He understood how impatience and pressure had pushed him into danger. He realized that saving a few minutes was never worth risking his life. In the days that followed, Adil repaired his car and returned to his routine, but something inside him had changed. He left earlier for work. He avoided risky roads. When friends talked about shortcuts, he warned them instead of laughing along. The shortcut had promised speed and ease, but it delivered fear and regret. Adil learned that not all roads that look faster are safe, and not all delays are bad. Sometimes the longer path is the one that protects you. The clear lesson was simple and strong. No shortcut is worth your life. Patience and safety matter more than saving time, because reaching late is always better than not reaching at all.